Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb. Today's morning musings is convergence zones and tipping points. I'm doing a series of daily morning musings, and I'm using posts from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. Now, I wrote these a while back, and the world has completely changed since then. So if I encounter anything that's out of date, I will interrupt myself and give you the most recent information. At the end, I will summarize the topic based on what's going on in the world today. Also, I have some special offers, so stay tuned to the very end to see what they are. Convergence zones and tipping points. A lot of people nowadays are overwhelmed with too many things converging on them at once. Most of us are used to being pretty busy or handling one or two crises at a time. But when challenges happen in three or more areas at once, you reach a breaking point. What do you do when you're already on overload and the next thing threatens to tip you over? Slow down and focus on only what is in front of you. Do the next indicated action. Take it one moment at a time. Do what you can in the present moment and let go of the rest. The Buddhists call this mindfulness. In 12-step groups, it's doing the next indicated thing. It's recommended when in a crisis. It's helpful in everyday stress management as well. When you focus on the present moment, you turn off the mind's chatter. It's the chattering that takes you into the future out of your control. It's the chattering that makes things much more dramatic than it needs to be. Staying in the present also helps you deal with overwhelming emotions. Don't dredge up past experiences that were as bad or as worse as what you're facing now. Why add memories to your already full plate? Don't imagine terrible future scenarios. The future hasn't happened yet, and what's happening now is enough to deal with. Break down now into small portions, individual tasks, and do only what you can. Hardly anything has to be responded to immediately. You can take 24 hours to decide on something or to reply to someone. Now is the time for extreme self-care. Nurture yourself. Sleep, eat, sit in the sun. I'm going to stop there because the thing that's running through my head is what I've experienced in the years since then. I love the idea of extreme self-care, but when you're handling a parent who is dying or a sister-in-law who has cancer and is dying, and her husband, my brother, is partially paralyzed from a stroke, those are all things that need attention immediately, and there isn't time to take time out for extreme self-care. And I'm glad I brought that up because extreme self-care doesn't necessarily have to take time. You can take it in moments, and all of this is talking about taking things in moments. I was able during that time to take moments like choose to eat healthy food. I actually think back then I was still doing like 15 minutes of yoga a day, which has gone out the window now. Totally different story now. I certainly didn't have time to sit in the sun, but it's extreme self-care. It can feel impossible when you have other people's lives in the balance. So just take it minutes at a time and try to include yourself in there. Back to the blog. Notice that there are different parts of you and they're having different reactions to whatever is going on. The loudest part is your emotions, part of your body personality. It's the part of you that only sees things from a black and white perspective. Its only knowledge is from past experience. When traumatized, it goes back to the age you were when you were originally hurt or threatened. The quietest part of you is your expanded self. It's the part that sees everything. Its knowledge is infinite because it is infinite. In crises, you want your expanded self to step in and take care of things. It's the you that you want driving the car and making decisions. Shift your awareness away from the you that is reacting to what's going on to the you that can respond to what's happening. When you do so, you become your own parent and your own guidance. It's helpful to do this on an everyday basis, whether you're in crisis or not, because honestly, the little you is comforted when it knows that the greater you is driving the car. Try some of these suggestions for this week and see how balance restores in your life. And leave me a comment below when you do, because I love to read your comments. It's so interesting because I wrote this like a year before my mother got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I flew out there, and a month later she was diagnosed with lung cancer, and we tried radiation and it didn't work, and came to the conclusion that chemotherapy and the side effects of chemotherapy would be too much for her to handle, especially when she didn't know she had cancer, and she also didn't know that she had Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's. So we started hospice, and she was on a hospice for 11 months, and she was in a really good mood with nurses that visited. Everyone except me, because she was really mad at me because I would make her get up in the mornings. And she didn't know she was dying, so she took her own sweet time. It was like midwifing someone without a known due date. And the other thing I'm just remembering now that I'll add to this is that I would hit these moments of extreme overwhelm and I would talk myself through them. I would be at this point where I just couldn't take it a minute longer, and I would coax myself to take it a minute longer. And that's really how I got through those 2 years. And I've had some other things since I've alluded to and or outright mentioned that have been painful and challenging, and goes right back to these basics of taking it a minute at a time. Most of my messages on my videos are all about operating as consciousness. When you operate as consciousness, things get so much easier. And even so, stuff still happens. Painful and difficult things still arise. Doing your best to operate as consciousness helps you navigate these difficult things and come out the other end. So if you like these videos, please share them with your family and friends, and also click the like button and subscribe. That way you're telling YouTube to share this with more people, and it gets the information out there to someone who really needs to see it. And if you'd like a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the skybox technique. It gives you an expanded perspective of your life and helps you lift you up to that level of consciousness. If you'd like some manifestation techniques, Manifesting Money and Miracles is my self-study course where I teach you how to embody certain vibrations that create inner changes that reflect on a complete transformation in your external world. So you click on the link below to that. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. There you can find out about my private sessions where I take a look at the essence of who you are and what's going on in your life today. And then I can answer any questions that you might have, whether it's about your life in general, about relationships, about career, about where you live, or buying a home, or moving to another country. I can also talk to deceased loved ones, and it's all recorded just for you. And if you want to know how to do this for yourself, Manifesting Money and Miracles is a great preparation for my coaching special where I work with you one-on-one and give you specifically chosen consciousness techniques for you to transform your life. So you can find out the details on my website. So go to my website, joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you tomorrow in another Morning Musings.